First at 4, all law enforcement officers in Arkansas could soon be required to wear body cameras. Chris Bryant looks into the bill in the state legislature and the benefits it could provide.
I would hope that if the state mandates it, they would help to finance it for those smaller departments.
House Bill 1219 in the Arkansas General Assembly would require law enforcement agencies and public entities that employ law enforcement officers to provide body-worn cameras. The bill, sponsored by Representative Scott Richardson, will also require the recording of law enforcement interactions with the public.
When I was patrol sergeant, I used them all the time to help the guys to learn to do better. You can critique their traffic stops, you can critique their approaches, you can critique so many things by just watching and giving them productive criticism, productive notes that they can learn from.
In addition, the bill states that an accurate record of the interaction between law enforcement and the public is available for legal and training purposes.
The officers can review them when they get a traffic stop and maybe they have field sobriety or something like that. They have the ability to review their cases, review the whole stop, and make notes that maybe they didn't notice something while they were out there on the scene.
Eureka Springs Police Chief Billy Floyd says his department has had body cameras for several years. Floyd believes anything that helps protect the public and law enforcement is a benefit to everyone and ensures interactions and investigations are complete and thorough.
It helps with supervision. It helps with liability. There's no more he said, she said. Our officers are covered.
I reached out to State Representative Scott Richardson, who is behind the bill, and after originally agreeing to an interview, he declined my request in an email, writing, "I generally attempt to comply with all media interview requests, but given my tight schedule today and that KY3 doesn't reach most of my constituents, I need to decline. Thank you for the offer." To read the bill for yourself, we have a link inside this story at ky3.com. In the newsroom, Chris Bryant, KY3 News.